Good morning, children. On the face of it, this chapter we started last week, and we'll be continuing with this. The very first day we talked about its theme and all. Then we read its first and second and even third page. So what we had already done, Barry, a boy about 13 or 14 years of age, he comes into the garden of Mr. Lamb. Barry is a boy whose half face is burnt, and due to that he has developed an inferiority complex, and he thinks that people only look at his face and are scared of him. When Barry basically, because of his inferiority complex, doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't befriend anyone, and is scared of all, because he thinks that people are scared of his face. So when he comes to the garden of Mr. Lamb, he tells him that he came because he thought like no one was there in the garden. So he decides to leave the garden, but Mr. Lamb encourages him to stay in the garden and to enjoy, because Mr. Lamb tells him that if he has come, then he can, it's all like the gates of the garden are always open for everybody. So if he has come, he's most welcome. Then Barry, withdraws. He wants to go back, but Mr. Lamb tells him that he can go. If he wants to go, he can go, but he should not go because of him. He tells him that he is all alone in the garden. But otherwise, Mr. Lamb says that he is not all alone, because outside he is there with the garden, with the flowers, with the grass, with the trees, with the apple gardens. And inside he has got so many books with him. So Barry, wants Mr. Lamb to talk about him. He doesn't want that he should change the topic. So Mr. Lamb, who is actually a very good psychiatrist, also the one who can read the psychology of others. So he's able to make out that Barry wants Mr. Lamb to talk about his face. So Mr. Lamb encourages him to speak about him. So Barry, says that, see, this dialogue of Barry is very important. So he says, you think. He says, like, this is what you are thinking. How can we make out like what others are thinking about us? If we say this thing that you are thinking about, you are thinking this, it means that we are self-obsessed. And Barry was self-obsessed. He could not think anything beyond himself. So when you are self-obsessed, then you talk like this, what Barry says. Barry says, you think here is a boy who look at me and then you see my face and you think that's bad. And that is a terrible thing. That's the ugliest thing I ever saw. You think poor boy, but I'm not poor. Underneath you a friend. Anybody would be, I am. When I look in the mirror, I see it, I'm afraid of it. So Barry says that you think that I am a poor boy with ugly face and all, but he says that I am not a poor boy. But basically the fact is that even I am afraid of my face. So children, when you don't value yourself, when you don't consider yourself of some worth, you cannot imagine others considering you of some worth. Okay, first, value yourself. Then only the world will value you. Mr. Lamb says, no, not the whole of you, not of you. So Mr. Lamb is a person who doesn't look at the dark side of things. He always looks at the brighter side of life. So he says, okay, you've got a half burnt face, but your full face is not burnt. Your full face is not burnt. Not the whole of you, not of you. Daddy, yes. All of me, Mr. Lamb. Later on, when it's a bit cooler, I'll get the ladder and a stick and pull down those crab apples. They are ripe for it, and I'll make jelly. It's good time of year, September. Look at them, orange and golden. That's a magic fruit, I often say. But it's best picked and made into jelly. You could give me a hat. So when the boy was talking about his face and all, then Mr. Lamb said, he just told him like, no, the whole of you is not burnt. Not of you, not whole of you, not of you. Means you are not burnt. You are a human being. So you are a whole boy. Whole boy means that you've got your hands, you've got your eyes, you've got your ears. You have a whole of you. Just some part of your face is burnt, and that is of no significance. But Dari says yes. Yes over here means that like I am, the whole of mine is of no use. So that is like uh, giving no value to yourself. And then Mr. Lamb is, the kind of person who cannot talk about one thing for a long time, who cannot be at one place for a long time, who is there to enjoy the whole life. So he talks about the environment, he talks about the weather, he talks about the apples, and he talks about so many things he has to do with that apple. So he's always busy, and he says that even the boy can help him out. So he asks boy to help him. Daddy, what have you changed the subject for? People always do that. Why don't you ask me? Why do you always, why you do what they all do and pretend it isn't true and isn't there? In case I see you looking and mind and get upset, I'll tell you, don't ask me because you are afraid to. So Daddy, who is always self-obsessed, he asks the man not to change the topic. Then Mr. Lamb, you want me to ask? Say so, then. I don't like being with people, any people. I should say, to look at it, I should say you got burnt in a fire. Now, Mr. Lamb has got to realize that the boy only wants to talk about himself. So he makes him talk. He says, okay, your face got burnt in a fire? No, not in a fire. I got acid all down inside of my face and it burnt it all away. It ate my face up, it ate me up, and now it's like this, and it won't ever be any different. So the acid burnt his face basically, but the boy let the acid burn his whole self. He let his conscience also get burnt by acid. He let his confidence consumed by acid. So that's why Mr. Lamb was telling him, like, not whole of you. But boy says yes, means that he let his confidence, he let his spirit being burnt by that acid. Now, Mr. Lamb, no. Daddy, aren't you interested? You are a boy who came into the garden, plenty do. I am interested in anybody, anything. There is nothing God made that doesn't interest me. Look over there, over beside the far wall. What can you see? So Daddy asked him, like, if the old man was not interested in him. And Mr. Lamb told him that he is interested in everything because he likes everything and everybody. So there is no point that he doesn't like him. So he says that, okay, behind that far wall, what do you see? Daddy is able to see only rubbish. So this is our human perspective. Okay, there is everything around us. There is a whole beauty around us. But what happens? We just keep on looking at the negative or the darker side of life. When we look at the dark side of life, everything turns out to be bad for us. Everything turns out to be rubbish for us. This is what Daddy said. Mr. Lamb, rubbish? Look, boy, look. What do you see? Then Mr. Lamb encourages him to look beyond what he is able to see. Then Daddy says, just grass and stuff. Then after rubbish, he's able to see the grass and other things, weeds. Some call them weeds, if you like that, then a weed garden that. There is a fruit and there are flowers and trees and herbs, all sorts. But over there, weeds. I grow weeds there. Why is one green growing plant called a weed and another flower? Where is the difference? It's all life, growing, same as you and me. So Mr. Lamb has given a whole philosophy of life here. He says that how can you call, where is the difference? It's all our perspective. Weeds are also green and the green lush grass is also green. But the green lush grass we value, but the weeds we don't. But why this discriminatory attitude? Because it's only because of what we think about the things as. It's all life. Life is all growing up. So life is all about growing up in perspective, growing up with experiences, growing up with, new ideas, new experiences. So Daddy, we are not the same. I am old and you are young. You've got a burnt face, I've got a tin leg. Not important. You are standing there, I'm sitting here. Where is the difference? So Daddy, so old man said, like, we are all same. Daddy doesn't agree. He says, like, how can we be same? But Mr. Lamb tells him the outward difference first. He says that you are old and I'm young. You are standing and I'm sitting. You've got a burnt face, I've got a tin leg. So these outer differences, these apparent differences don't matter. But what matters the most is, let's see, Daddy says, but why have you got a tin leg? Now Daddy, who had been talking only about his face, now he realizes that the old man also has got some loss. Daddy kinds of people think that it's only they who are suffering. They don't realize that the world is full of sufferings. No one is complete in this world. No one can be termed as totally happy. Everybody has got one or the other problem. But the point is, do we live with the problem or do we find solutions to problem and live life? So Daddy says that, why have you got a tin leg? Now Mr. Lamb says, real one got blown off years back. Lammy lamb. Some kids say, haven't you heard them? You will. Lammy lamb. Doesn't trouble me. So Mr. Lamb says that my real leg got blown off years ago. Okay, how did his got blown off? In a war. So he says, I lost my one real leg years ago, and now even children call me as Lemmy Lamb. They make fun of me, but that doesn't matter. I don't mind. But you can put on trousers and cover it up and no one sees. They don't have to notice and stare. So we always have excuses for the problems of others. We always have the reason to say that the problem of others is not very big. Because we think like our problem is bigger than the problem of others. This is what Daddy says. He says that you can cover up your leg. No one will look at your leg. Then Mr. Lamb says, some do and some don't. So Daddy had said that no one will notice and stare your broken leg. Then Mr. Lamb says that some people will notice and some people will not. They get tired of it in the end. There is a plenty of things to stare at. So Mr. Lamb has a very clear idea of life that you have got so many things in your life to do. You have got so many things to give your time to. Why do you give time to one thing always? So he said that some people will notice my leg and some people will not. But the point is, in the end, they will stop looking at it and they will, because they'll have so many other things to do. They'll have so many other things to look at. So Daddy says, for example, my face. So Daddy is self-obsessed and he cannot talk more. Earlier, he had never been able to talk anything beyond his face. But now, for the first time, he talked about his leg for a while, but again, he comes back to the same topic. Right? Then Mr. Lamb. Like my face, like crab apples or the weeds or a spider climbing up a silken ladder or my tall sunflowers. So Mr. Lamb says that why only your face? There are so many other things they can see. For example, the crab apples or the weeds or the spider climbing up a silken ladder or my tall sunflowers. Things. It's all relative. Beauty and the beast. Means it's all same. Beauty and the beast. So Mr. Lamb actually alluded to give example of a very famous fairy tale, Beauty and the Beast. What's that supposed to mean? You tell me. So Mr. Lamb is not explaining. Mr. Lamb just referred to a story and he was sure that Daddy might be knowing this story. What that story, Beauty and the Beast, in the end talks about? In the end, Beauty and the Beast, it's all about like beauty lies underneath. Handsome is he who handsome does. Means beauty is skin deep. That was the moral of that fairy tale. Right? So Mr. Lamb does not explain the story. because he knows that Derry kind of person might be knowing this story. Mr. Lamb says, you tell me. So Derry says, you need not think they haven't all told me that fairy story earlier. It's not what you look like, it's what you are inside. Handsome is as handsome does. Beauty loved the monstrous beast for himself, and when she kissed him, he changed into a handsome prince. Only he won't. He would have stayed a monstrous beast. I won't change. So the point is that the people, those who are self-obsessed, the people like Derry, it's not that they don't know the reality. It's not that they don't know the abstract ideas that beauty is skin deep. Like if you have to value somebody, you don't value a person because of his looks. You value a person because of what he does. Right? Handsome is he who handsome does. Just your physical beauty doesn't matter. But what matters the most is like what you do. Your actions speak louder than your words or even your looks. So Mr. Lamb says that yes, you can tell the story, and the boy knew the story. And he says that don't think that my parents have not told me the story. I know that handsome is he who handsome does. I know it. But the point is that that it happened in the story. I will not change. I will remain ugly. So this is what happens in this world also. We know so many things, but we know them only for knowledge. We don't actually apply those things in our life. The story with such a great idea that handsome is he who handsome does. It's such a great, idea. On this idea, the fairy tale has been framed. But how many children, how many people are able to actually realize it? By the time somebody realizes the importance of handsome is he who handsome does, one becomes too old to value it that much. Mr. Lamb says, in what way? No, you won't. So Mr. Lamb agrees that yes, you won't change. So Mr. Lamb is also not the kind of person who will pamper somebody or will flatter somebody or will give, you can say, false hopes to somebody. He says, yes, you won't change. Your face will remain as it is. And no one will kiss me ever. Only my mother, and she kisses me on the other side of my face. And I don't like my mother to kiss me. She does it because she has to. Why should I like that? I don't care if nobody ever kisses me. So Derry is quite, disheartened at the fact that no one will ever kiss him. So what happens? We become sad not because our present is happy or bad, but because we think like the future will be bad. The future many a times kills the present beauty also. He's not able to understand, he's not able to appreciate, he's not able to value his mother's love. He thinks that his mother kisses him because she has to. She has no option. So he doesn't even attach any value to his mother's love. Because there is no scope in his heart to love somebody. His heart is all full of, you can say, hatred or indifference towards the world. And why is it so? Because of his self-obsession. What is self-obsession? That I am ugly and no one loves me. That's it. This one thought makes him think that no one loves him at all. But it's not so. People don't value your looks for a long time. They can see you for some time. They may value your beauty or they may dislike your ugliness for some time. But in the end, people will value your integrity of character. People will value you for you being a person, for your qualities, right? But he is not able to understand this because he is always self-obsessed. And second thing is that no one has ever talked to him the way Mr. Lamb is talking to him today. Okay, Mr. Lamb doesn't tell him that yes, you will change. you will become handsome one day. No, he says, yes, you will not change. Your face will remain as it is. Then Mr. Lamb says, but do you care if you never kiss them? Point is not whether they will kiss you. The point is like whether you will love somebody. Point is not like how many people love us. The point is how much we love others. Unless we'll give something to somebody, we should not expect it. Rather, we should not expect. The point is we always keep on expecting others to love us. But what happens? We don't bother how much we love others. Right? Our expectations are always from others. But what we are doing for others, that we rarely value. So Mr. Lamb says that, but do you care if you ever kiss them? What? Girls, pretty girls, long hair and large eyes, people you love. Who would let me? Not one. So most of the times we kill our present with the false hopes for future. Daddy is one of them. So who can tell? Daddy, I won't ever look different. When I am as old as you, I look the same. I'll still only have half face. So Daddy has got one, realistic picture that I will always remain like this. Then Mr. Lamb says, so you will? Like, yes, you will remain like this. He doesn't flatter him that, no, you will become better when you grow up. No, he says, yes, you will, but the world won't. But the world will not remain the same. Yes, your face will remain the same, but the world will not. The world has got a whole face and the world is there to be looked at. So there are two things. Because why will the world not remain the same? Because number one, the world has got a full face. There is a complete world. The earth is round. There are so many people. And secondly, the world the world has got a whole face and the world's there to be looked at. And there are so many things to look at. Do you think this is a world, the old garden? So Daddy never thought like this. He never thought about the world being so big, being so beautiful. So he says, like, do you think your garden is a world? Then see what Mr. Lamb says. When I am here. So when I am here in the garden, this is my world. Not the only one, but the world as much as anywhere. So Mr. Lamb says that when I am here, this is the world. So wherever I go, that is my world. So each place is important. Daddy, does your leg hurt you? Now Daddy, the one who was always self-obsessed, he is getting a clue to bother about others. The world is, even a person you are talking to is a world, isn't it? But that will happen only when we come out of our shell. So Daddy says, does your leg hurt you? 10 doesn't hurt, boy. When it came off, did it? Certainly. And now, where the 10 stops at the top. Now and then, in wet weather, it doesn't signify. So Daddy says that, does your leg hurt, the real leg, where it is attached with the 10 leg? Then old man says that yes, when it's a rainy season, it does hurt, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't signify. So Mr. Lamb is not self-obsessed. Mr. Lamb doesn't want to talk much about his pain or sufferings. Daddy, oh, that's something else they all say. Look at all those people who are in pain and brave and never cry and never complain and don't feel sorry for themselves. So Daddy has also been lectured about this thing also. Daddy said that yes, they tell me about, like, look at the people, those who are in pain and are very brave and never cry about anything. So there are people. Mr. Lamb said, I haven't said it. And think of all those people worse off than you. Think you might have been blinded or born deaf or have to live in a wheelchair or be daft in your head or dribble. So daft means being silly. So Daddy says that yes, even I know that there can be people who might be more duffer than me. There might be people, those who might have been born blind or deaf or what. So think about the people, those who are worse off than you. That is how you can be happy. So Daddy knows all the things. It's not that he has no gyan. Okay, it's not that he has no knowledge. Point is, he knows everything, but the fact is, he doesn't apply that knowledge in his real life. He does not know how not to be self-obsessed. He doesn't know how to enjoy life. He doesn't know, he doesn't imagine that there are people who are worse off than him. He doesn't apply this in his own life. He doesn't realize that he is otherwise a fully formed and healthy person. There is no deformity in him. He doesn't realize this, but he knows it, Mr. Lamb, and that's all true, and you know it, Daddy. It won't make my face change. Again, he's back to his own face. Do you know, one day a woman went by me in the street. I was at a bus stop and she was with another woman, and she looked at me and she said, whispered, only I heard her. She said, look at that. That's a terrible thing. That's a face only a mother could love. So children, what do you gather from this one dialogue? Here, if Daddy, a small child, 13 or 14-year-old child, if he has become self-obsessed, it's not only his mistake. Somewhere the society is equally to be mistaken. Society is also wrong. He heard two women who didn't even know him. They talked about his face. The point is, yes, it is a Daddy's problem. Yes. We should not bother about what others say. We should believe in enjoying our life and looking at the best. People will say so many things. It's not that people say only these kinds of things for the ugly people. People don't spare even the most beautiful people also. People have to say something. Got it? The point is that people don't spare anyone. Then should we keep on listening to everybody? Here is a Daddy who is ugly, and he's being commented on his ugliness by two women. But children, in the real life, now Harnaaz Sidhu, the one who became Miss Universe, we heard many people talking about her critically. Like, why did she go there? Why did a girl from Punjab went there and did this or that? So there are people, those who won't spare even the most beautiful girl also. Then will people spare an ugly person? Tell me. The fact is, the reality is, people will say something or the other. Each person will have a different, idea or view about something. But the point is, we must not listen to everybody or everything. Something which is important for us that we can take in, and otherwise we can just let it go. That is how we can live our life. Otherwise, the life will become a hell if we'll start listening to people after each moment. You won't be able to live. We won't be able to live our life with peace then. Yes, if you want to lose your peace of mind, listen to 10 people about what they say about you. You will lose all peace of your life. So, point is, don't listen to all. Just introspect yourself and enjoy your life. Do your best. Do your best, be honest, and live your life in your terms. Because if you will be after what people say about you, you will lose all peace of your life. And once the peace of life is gone, you will never be able to enjoy your life. The whole day will be wasted in bothering about what somebody has said about you. Let people say. Got it? So Daddy says that I heard two women saying something like this. Here are two things. Number one, don't listen to others. Let it go. Second thing is, as a society, how we have to change ourselves. As a society, we have no right to kill peace of others by commenting upon them. maybe their work, or maybe about their appearance. As a society, we must believe in minding our own business. Society is also to be blamed for making people like dairy, like what dairy has become. Then Mr. Lamb says, so you believe everything you hear then? So Mr. Lamb is pointing out the same thing what I'm telling you, that don't believe in everything what you hear. So dairy said it was cruel. Maybe not meant as such, just something said between them. Only I heard it. I heard. And is that the only thing you ever heard anyone say in your life? Oh no, I've heard a lot of things. So now you keep your ears shut. You are peculiar. You say peculiar things. You ask questions I don't understand. Now Mr. Lamb tells him to keep his ears shut. The point is, don't listen to what doesn't appease you. Something which kills the peace of your mind, don't listen. And then it makes dairy say that you talk about strange things. Okay, peculiar means strange. You talk about strange things. You are strange. You can be asked a question like, why does dairy say that you are peculiar? So you must know the reference. Okay, up till here, page number 61, half we have done. We'll continue the next part on Monday, right?